morning. Thanks, everyone. So yes, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Whispli, and you may have heard of FraudSec previously. We just renamed the company 2 weeks ago, and the main reason is that we added other solutions to our platform, which is a secure, anonymous, two-way communication platform. And this is the range of solutions that we offer, going from, of course, the corporate side, whether it's public or private sector, with FraudSec, which is to allow anonymous reporting of wrongdoings, such as fraud and corruption, but also bullying and harassment or safety issues. There's a broad range of things that can be reported using our technology. Then for the media, there's journal tips, and for you that may have read the paper, whether the Fairfax Media or the Huffington Post 2 weeks ago, there was an article talking about the world's biggest bribe scandal, and in that article, Nick McKenzie from Fairfax was using one of our anonymous reporting form, and he got a lot more report that he never expected to receive from anonymous tip-offs from around the world. So that worked pretty well. A solution for schools, which is called SchoolSafe, to enable kids to report anonymously anything around bullying and harassment at school and not exposing their identity. And that way they can seek help and find a solution to that problem. Report DVs to report domestic violence. Again, a hot topic not only in Australia but around the world. Report somebody, you can think about Crime Stopper, but it's actually a solution that does work. So there's a range of solutions that we've developed using our unique technology, which is all about secure, anonymous, two-way communication. And today, the purpose of me being here, and thank you again, Catherine, for the opportunity, is to talk about how we can apply that solution to something really unique that doesn't exist yet, which is about giving visibility and transparency alongside the supply chain. And the supply chain is not only the tier one supplier; it's whoever is, going back to the raw material. This is just an extract from a report, and there's a few hundred pages on that report that was released by Amnesty International, I think around the 15th of January this year, pointing large companies like Apple, Samsung, and many other, that they were actually using child labor in their supply chain. And all of them don't accept, of course, or tolerate child labor or any other force of offense to employees or workers. And it happens that they will tell you that they know who is their tier one supplier, but they just don't have a clue on who sits behind. And in that example, it was a supplier in Asia that actually has a subsidiary in Congo in Africa, where kids dig in mining grounds to extract cobalt that is used to manufacture batteries that we've got in our little devices and electric cars and any other things using batteries. So a huge issue. The major corporation around the world using those kids, not even aware of it. And I'm telling you here, we've got a solution. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And it's really effective. So the way that can work is our secure anonymous communication platform enables you to, within minutes, any organization, and we can take one by example, let's say Apple. Apple might want to go to a supplier in Asia and say, we'd love to do business with you, but if we do business with you, you'll have to use Whispli. And when you use Whispli, we create a form, and that form will contain some key elements. And I've got one for you to look at here. So that's a form that's just a sample form. So KG Packaging is just not a real company. But that's a form that could be used by Apple for that supply in China. And in there, they may have some criteria to say, if any employees from KG Packaging report on any of those criteria, we want to be made aware of it. So Apple's going to engage a third-party independent company or an ombudsman that will receive any incoming reports from people working for KG Packaging or being aware that actually they've got child labor or forced labor or issues on a factory somewhere in China or in Congo. We'll send you a photo, which they will attach to the report. We'll not, of course, put their contact details, just the password, and then submit the form. And Whispli will give them a case ID number that will allow the two-way communication. So people can then log back in using that login to follow-up data. The way you put that in front of workers anywhere in the world is by just simply having them to access a poster, which, by the way, is automatically generated by our system. And that poster is actually something that can be on any factory wall in any language, readily accessible by staff. They can either pick up a URL address or a QR code that are QR code readers, they're all free on any phone. And you might want to say, yeah, but most of those people don't have a smartphone. That's fine, they all have access, and most of them anywhere around the world, even in Africa, in the middle of nowhere, they'll have a coffee shop that has free internet access, and they can report from there anonymously. And they can follow up on the investigation as well. They can submit files and photos and videos about wrongdoings occurring in the workforce on that mine site in Congo where kids are dealing cobalts. So the solution is right here, right there. What's going to happen with the ombudsman or the third party receiving the report is they can then alert Apple and say, guys, you've got an issue with that factory or that supplier in China, they're using child labor in Africa, go and check them out. So instead of doing one audit every year or one audit every 6 months, where the supplier will sweep the floor and get rid of all the illegal workers, you now have an audit 24/7 all year round. And I'm not saying that with this solution and we're going to stop and deter any workers-related problems around the world. I'm just saying we've got a solution. And that solution costs close to nothing. And that can be implemented alongside the supply chain. And just get a third independent party to be there to receive those reports and assess whether or not there's an audit that is required by the end customer, in that case it would be Apple. And everything is secured, everything is anonymous. The data that is being transmitted is also secured. And think about your online banking, similar type of security grade used in our solution. And this is really key. As a whistleblower, myself on a $22 million fraud in Australia, I can tell you that any company's or organization's best asset are their people, whether the people that work in the company or outside the company. There's only a few crooks. Everybody else wants to do the right thing. And you need to enable those people to come forward. But they will rarely come forward if you can't make them anonymous. Because as soon as you report something, you just don't know what's going to happen to yourself. You don't know what the response is going to be like. We've heard too many stories, of whether it's in Australia or anywhere around the world, where whistleblowers are being dismissed, big fine, sometimes threatened to be killed, and that just can't last because people fear and people just don't report. And nobody wins in that situation. The potential whistleblower will feel that they're not engaged in the company anymore. In my experience, I can tell you that some of them will become crooks as well, because in the end, if everybody has their finger in the pie, then why not me? It doesn't work for the organization because that damages their financials, their reputation, their brand, and usually the guy in the middle, in my case at least, he got 12 years behind bars, he lost his wife and his daughter and everything he had. So nobody wins. And there is a solution. We just need to make sure that people can be aware of it and use it. But in terms of the supply chain and enabling to protect the workers' right, this is a solution right here, right there, that can be used tomorrow by any organization, whether in the public sector or private sector. And that's about it. Do I stick to the time again? Are you going to have time for questions for 2 minutes? No. So, Whispli doesn't mean anything. Originally, I'll go back to that slide, we were called FraudSec. And FraudSec, some companies say, oh, FraudSec, not sure if we can use that. They all know they've got fraud and corruption, but they don't want to use it. This came out from my experience as a whistleblower at Leighton, and I thought about one solution, but then it expanded into all those solutions, and we had to think about another name. So Whispli doesn't mean anything, but it's a name that people will remember. And it's also a name that means the wisp is a little ghost, whisper whispers, and whisper whistleblowers. But whispering itself doesn't mean anything, and it's good that way. Because then you can say, I work for Apple, and I've got a whistleblower hotline, and I'll call it Apple Whistleblower Hotline by Whispli. And that's it. People know that they can go into our website, check out who we are, what we do, but it doesn't mean fraud, it doesn't mean anything, and that can encapsulate any other solution. Yes?
How does the one for domestic violence work? Who registered and how does that work?
So it's more...
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so how does Report TV, which is for domestic violence, works? This is used by organizations like not-for-profit. It would be a helpline for women or families or kids or whoever, and the idea is to engage into an anonymous communication between someone that is subject to domestic violence and a psychologist or a counselor in that type of not-for-profit organization, for them to engage into a conversation where they remain anonymous if they wish to do so, and then build the strength into that person so they can go and seek help all the time. So it's not an instant help, it's just all the time being able to communicate anonymously, because when you do that, you actually realize that a lot of people are in trouble and you didn't know about it before, but because now they can remain anonymous, they will come to you and have a chat. And that's what you want to achieve. Same thing with School Safe and kids at school. Yes, please.
In our group, we talked about the problem of actually understanding a particular supply chain, like mapping a supply chain. So you take a particular commodity which has a number of components that are sourced from different places around the world or around the country. Does your platform enable an effective mapping of a commodity or a labour source or something of that nature?
So it doesn't do it per se, but it's helping in the process. And to give you an example, is I worked in the automotive industry for a company called Foracia back in France, and they do manufacture components for all manufacturers around the world. So any car around the world has at least one component from that company. And when they go in, I was a procurement professional there, when we go and buy something, we just want to know what's in that product. And that's where you start to split the product into its own components and try to identify who is supplying those components. So it's not that hard to do. Yes, in some time it can be quite complex, but what you want to achieve is, try to think about the bigger picture. Where is your biggest threat? Where is the biggest risk? You know that to manufacture batteries, you need cobalt, and cobalt comes from mines. Where? From Africa. You know that potentially you've got that risk there. Other commodities, you may not have that risk if you can identify that they're coming from countries like maybe the US or maybe Australia, even though we've got the sub issues from time to time. But it's all about breaking down that product into smaller pieces of components and raw materials. And again, I'm not saying that you're going to inundate the market with the Whispli across all suppliers around the world, but ultimately that's what could happen. It's all about enabling the communication and let your people speak up. So just target what you can easily identify and where is the biggest threat and the biggest risk. If cobalt is the main component of the battery, then that's where you should look for. That's where you go.
Which one of those 6 elements would be used that you've got up on the screen there?
Fraud sake. For workers' rights?
Yeah, for workers' rights.
Yes.
Which one?
Fraud sake is this one here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the most advanced solution that enables you to configure everything from A to Z. Yes.
Thank you.
Just the report goes to the employer.
So the report goes to whoever the organization that has subscribed wants to. So it could be the organization itself, it could be a third party, type KPMG, Deloitte, who does offer this type of products. It could go to anybody the organization wants to involve. It could be multiple parties. It could be an investigation firm, an accounting firm, internally, whoever you want it to be. So depending on the organization, some of them are really secretive and they want to handle things in-house. And if, as an employee, you don't have the outcome you want, then you can go to journal tips and go to a journalist. So the whole idea is to give a chance to the organization to sort it out first, and they might get some support themselves from third party from the outside world of the company. And if you don't get the outcome you want as a whistleblower, you can always find another channel using journal tips.
And sorry, just a quick follow-up. Is there a possibility for the person receiving the report to alter that report?
No, everything stays in the system forever. You can't delete anything, whether it's a file or a text or an exchange of message between the case manager and the whistleblower. Everything stays in there as an audit trail. Yeah. I think I need to go.
One last question. How do you determine whether the complaint is legitimate or...
So that's the job of a case manager or investigator. That's for them to assess whether the evidence substantiates the allegations made. If not, you can ignore the report and say, you know what, we didn't receive the evidence. We need to ignore that report and close it. And then the whistleblower can't communicate with you anymore using that case item number. Sorry. And last. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.